Okay, with this week's Raw, we are a step closer to the Elimination Chamber, as well as 55 days away from when The Rock passes the torch to John Cena, when Triple H will more than likely take on The Undertaker in another epic confrontation. And hopefully we will see Chris Jericho and CM Punk feud for the WWE Championship. But before we get there, we had to go through tonight's Raw, which was Brodus Clay free, ironically enough, as well as Cena free. So it would begin with Triple H recounting what happened last week, talking about how he's not going to take on the Undertaker and showing an Undertaker montage, and not wanting to show the beaten Undertaker that he left in a heap at the end of WrestleMania. The Taker showed his montage, more or less saying that the H he wants to take on is not in a suit. He wants to take on the
I am the game.
Triple H. H again decides he doesn't want to take on the Undertaker. So with a year of prep time, they just flip last year's storyline. Then the opening contest ended up being a singles match with Daniel Bryan versus Big Show, where Big Show wins via countout because he almost killed AJ by running at her and slamming her into the steel steps, but he stopped just short. Which was enough for Daniel Bryan to be like, no, this isn't going to happen. You're not going to beat this woman who loves me. And I'm a vegan. It's an interesting heel tactic, She loves me, and I don't eat animal products. So that match was decent, It's I'm glad they're not having him, just defeat Big Show and defeat these big guys handily. It was like when Mysterio was champion and he seemed to beat everybody. Didn't matter how big you were, he got the pinfall. With Daniel Bryan, either he gets you by submission, he gets you by a fluke victory, or you win by countout. All in all, pretty decent. David Otunga came out and decided he wanted to Tebow, and then he got destroyed by Sheamus. Okay. That was pretty, I can dig that. Jericho finally came out and talked. And I love how he said he trolled the whole crowd. Which, in lots of ways, he did. When he finally came out and said what he always wanted to say, that everybody in the back is just a wannabe. He was a high flyer first. Kofi Kingston is a high flyer now. He came out in suits and he talked in a very solemn voice. Just like The Miz does. He said a phrase that ended in up, or Truth says a phrase that ended in up. That one's kind of stretching it. But then he compared Dolph Ziggler coming out of the ring with Vicky Guerrero, like him walking down with Stephanie McMahon. I see no correlation at all between those two scenarios. I just don't. And then he finally attacked Punk for Punk saying he's the best in the world. They had this war on Twitter right after Punk had made the Best in the World t-shirts and around the time of Money in the Bank. So this fight actually has been starting on Twitter way before Chris came back. Punk comes out and says nothing. And his silence speaks volumes. Which of course that helped lead to the six-pack challenge match. There's also a 8-person Diva tag match. I was watching this with my wife, and I was like, oh great, Diva tag match. And she's like, what do you mean? Normally there might be 1 to 2 tags. So out of the 8 people involved in this match, 2 people from both sides get involved. And Tamina gets the pinfall on one of the Bellas. Whichever one that one was. I like the setup of having Beth Phoenix say there's no challenges left. There's nobody left worthy of fighting her. Beautiful setup to her facing Karma at Mania, which, if done right, will be a fantastic match. The two of them being Shimmer alum, they can legitimately do this thing that we haven't seen in the ring in a long time with women in the E, and that's having a legitimately good match, which will be spectacular. Just if those two don't have any sort of restrictions placed on them, they will put on a match that will be unlike any match you have seen the WWE put out at a pay-per-view since like the heyday of Trish Stratus and Lita. I mean, it's going to be that phenomenal of a women's match. Now I got a six-pack challenge match. Good sort of match to have. The winner of that gets to be the last person to come out in the Elimination Chamber. A match that actually has a pretty solid purpose to it. I couldn't tell if R-Truth blew his spot, if the Miz wasn't close enough to catch him, or not, but then you could tell R-Truth landed funny when he did his, over-the-top rope dive. So he was taking on the match relatively early. Lots of back and forth, really great. I still have the spot they do with Punk and Ziggler, where Punk gets knocked down, Ziggler goes for it, his famous style move, or the showstopper, depending on what area you're watching. And then when he runs and jumps, Punk is able to, in the process of standing up, lift him up into like a powerbomb position. He had to do the spinning sit-down powerbomb, but instead he got in a powerbomb position, adjusted his weight to put him on his shoulders, hit the GTS. Punk gets pulled up by Jericho. Jericho scores the pinfall. Ironically, when Jericho and Punk squared off in that match, of course they got attacked on both sides, so they actually couldn't touch each other. I think those two are going to have a phenomenal match at Mania. If Jericho happens to win the title at the Chamber, it's Jericho as champion taking on Punk as challenger at Mania, or if Punk retains, and then it's Punk as champion versus Jericho, I think that is a fantastic money match. Period. Bar none, that will be a fantastic match. Some of the Triple H, John Laurinaitis stuff, If Laurinaitis gets canned, he gets canned. We'll find out next week. He'll still be the executive vice president of talent relations. He just won't be an on-air personality. Personally, I'd rather see, Steph in that role, or I know Vince doesn't want to come back, so, Shawn Michaels is filming in something else. Laurinaitis just seems like he's just entirely off in that position. He just does. I don't know if they're trying to build him up more, but he's just missing that little something. I don't know if it's just charisma, or he needs an additional shtick to really help make him, cement him in this position they're trying to put him in. He just doesn't have it. And it was, when it was McMahon and Austin, McMahon could fight. When it was Triple H and people, when Triple H was man in power, Triple H could fight. The vast majority of general managers have had some sort of physical role. And when you have somebody who's trying to do a physical role but can't, and is trying to do the war on the mic but can't, and then of course we end with Eve being stalked by Kane, and Kane saying how he's scared about the monster he's becoming now. Kane Cena, it's filler feud for the next 55 days until it's Cena Rock. It's sad that Cena gets a filler feud. Hopefully when that's done, Zack Ryder comes back and Zack Ryder feuds with Cena. I'd like for this to be the year of Cena not in a championship match. If you want to make Cena fresh, new, and exciting, you can have him still rise above hate, hustle, loyal, and respect, do a poor salute to people, wear camo jorts, do whatever you want him to do. If you keep him with the title for a year, then have him win like the Rumble next year, it'll actually mean something. It'll have a decent amount of build-up to it. Because it's almost guaranteed that he's probably going to beat The Rock. The Rock shows up, promotes a movie, leaves. John Cena, he's there night after night, and he's got to sell T-shirts. And if he beats The Rock, he'll sell a lot more Cena Sucks T-shirts.